almost has an accident, they're going to be the voice that's actually heard, because there's so few, and that's why I'm saying there's so few cyclists on the road anywhere compared to cars. How many bicycles is he truly seeing? He's not. He's even in the most bicycled area in the United States, compared to cars, there's very few. So him saying, oh, it's all the time, he was saying it's all the time happening that these cyclists are almost causing accidents. Not true. Okay, that in and of itself is a lie, not even a confirmation bias. And confirmation bias, I don't know if I already explained this. I'm going through menopause, so I'm going through this brain fog. I can't remember what I did 3 minutes ago. Confirmation bias is where you're doing your own, taking your own tests, and this even happens in research labs, survey labs, all these types of scientific labs and study labs. Confirmation bias does happen. So it's not just relevant to the common man, the common pedestrian. Confirmation bias is when you're already convinced of an opinion, and you'll take all the hits and disregard all the misses. You'll take in all the information that concludes your point to your idea. And and it's always, almost always, if not always, depending on how you define confirmation bias, it could be always or almost, but it's almost always, if not always, unintentional. So, anyways, I was talking to this man, and I found out that he lied in there, and I says, this is where he lied, when I says, you're a privilege and you're a person, right, you obviously don't ride a bicycle. He did say he didn't ride a bicycle, but then he said he rides a moped almost everywhere he goes. And then the few times I do drive a car, okay, wait a minute. You just told on yourself, because you're using your car a lot more than you're claiming you do. And he said that, he's almost gotten accidents because of bicycles. Probably once or twice at most. There's been something where he's actually had to watch out for a cyclist. He had to maybe go around the cyclist because they were on the road, and it was a road where, maybe the cyclist, it was even 35 you can go faster, the cyclist can't go that fast, I don't think. And so he probably just had to move over, and oh my gosh, it almost caused an accident when he tried to pass him, or some stupid stuff like that. But anyways, I don't remember where I was going with that. But anyways, he said, and speaking of minority, because I made mention of the cyclist being the minority. I said something about you're not the minority on the road. And he says, or something about minority and privilege, where you can afford a car. You're the, wait a minute, what did I say? He's the majority, basically he's the majority. He's not one of the minorities that have to use a bike. He doesn't have, he's not one of the minorities that are the disadvantaged to where they can't afford a car. And he said something about, oh, I'm Hispanic. Okay, first thing, the only reason he was really doing this stuff on Twitter was because he was trying to promote his YouTube page. And how I know this is because, in his first response to me, he gave me a link to his YouTube channel. Now, I looked on that YouTube channel. If he's Hispanic, the only person that knows it in any given room would be him, and maybe the people who are related to him. So you cannot say you're a minority if you're white passing in this country. You can say you're a minority in white passing if you're in like Libya or, Ethiopia. I'll give you that. But this is the United States. You're not a minority. He is definitely white. He has sandy blonde hair. He has white skin. So anyways, and I just said, stop right there. Do not say don't throw the minority thing in this game here. Don't even start that. And so he let that go. But anyways, it wouldn't be about minority anyways. This is about minority and financial issues, poverty levels, low income levels. We're not talking about, when I said disadvantaged or minority, whatever word I used, he knew doggone well I was talking about finances, not in race. And the thing about this is, the bottom line is, no matter what I said, he just stuck to his original idea. He kept saying, we're talking about two different lived experiences. And I'm thinking, okay, finally we're getting somewhere. He's noticing my side, but no, he didn't. He stuck to his term. He validated his lived experience with his confirmation bias and his lies as being just as valid as mine. It's not as valid. We're talking about a slight inconvenience every once in a blue moon to the average automobile driver, as opposed to systemically relegating people in poverty to poverty, keeping the poor down systemically, so the slight inconvenience to the wealthy, to the privileged. And I'm sorry, if you can afford a vehicle and pay for the insurance and not have to worry about anything, financially wise, you're privileged. Okay? If you're doing that easily, then you're privileged. Okay? If you're not doing that easily, I'll give you a little leeway here, but not much. Okay? Because you can still afford, you somehow got a vehicle. You had the privilege of getting a vehicle, whether somebody gave it to you as a gift or you inherited it, whatever. You have the privilege to have that vehicle. And you're the majority, and you're the monster truck compared to somebody who has to ride a bicycle to work. Anyways, a paraplegic doesn't care what the laws were at the time the vehicle struck his bike. So anyways, so you can say what the law is all you want. I have seen numerous times when cars took the right of way over pedestrians and cyclists. I've had it happen to me numerous times. Somebody even laughed at me while they did it. I had the right of way for the crosswalk. A friend of mine was turning left. I live in a small town. Everybody knows everybody. A friend of mine, quote unquote friend, not a friend anymore, was turning left, saw me, did not stop, proceeded to go through the light where I was walking through. Luckily, I was not up to that stop yet. I don't know, he might have actually hit me. But I was not up to the point yet to where it was in his lane into what he was the lane to what he was turning into. And he just laughed at me as he was turning when he saw me. And I thought, you're an absolute asshole. But see, we don't talk about that as much. When we're talking about laws passing and stuff, we're talking about making more laws instead of reinforcing the laws that are there. And so, and all these new laws that they're trying to make, we've already had enough laws to where if they were enforced, Safety is high enough, and for the most part it is. Safety is high enough to where we don't have to make these major sweeping changes. We don't have to make any changes, really, because we just need to enforce the laws, some laws a little bit better. With the bicycle versus car thing, I think we're fine. As long as, the laws, the motor vehicle police are enforcing laws like they should, I think we're fine. Yes, there's accidents are going to happen, and very few accidents happen every year, on bicycles, on cars versus bicycle type thing. That we don't need to do anything more. It's being done right. But anyways, this man just had this confirmation bias, and he couldn't get over it. He was still stuck in this. He was still going back to this is my lived experience and it's as valid as yours. No, your little bit of privilege that you want to keep, is to not be at all slightly inconvenienced by a bicycle. The bicycle has to be inconvenienced by you. These are poor people we're talking about. The wealthy are the ones that are in the street, that are in the roads. If they're causing any heartache to you, them are the wealthy people who can use bicycling as a hobby. Them are the ones that are bothering, not the poor people. What you're going to do is make these laws, and it's not going to be in any way harmful to the wealthy people. Because they can afford to get their bikes licensed. If they can afford a, $5,000 bike, aerodynamic bike, they can afford a $20 a year license. It's the poor people that can't afford that, or it's going to greatly impede them, or they might not be able to pass. I knew one boy who rode a bike because he was legally